What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? Noah Gray here, tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Josh's channel and check out showmefootball.com for more.
What is up, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome back to another video on my channel. My name is Josh Fan of showmefootball.com and arrowheadaddict.com, covering your Kansas City Chiefs. And today I am joined by, as always, Michael Darcy of KC Sports Report. And today we are here to break down a bad injury update for Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes. So as you guys all know, we all saw it yesterday. Patrick Mahomes exited the Cleveland Browns game late in the fourth quarter after suffering an ankle injury after getting hit high and low. Shortly after the game, though, Ian Rappaport of NFL Network put out a report stating Patrick Mahomes is feared to have suffered a high ankle sprain and one that could even cause him to miss a little bit of time. Now, Michael, I don't know if you listened to Patrick Mahomes after the game, but he did say that he could come back in, if needed, but the Chiefs' lead was big enough that they held him out. But he did say, the ankle, you never know until the next day because there's still a little bit of adrenaline. So I'd imagine Patrick Mahomes is feeling a little bit worse about his ankle this morning than he was yesterday. And pair that with the news we got from Ian Rappaport, and it sounds like he could be out for a couple of weeks, which is kind of the worst case scenario at this point for the Kansas City Chiefs. And we're going to get into not only the injury update and what things are going to look like here in the coming weeks, but also I'll have to start off with this, Michael, because we didn't get to talk about the game yesterday. Yeah. You have to be feeling pretty upset at Andy Reid after this, right? The way the end of that game was handled, that pretty much directly led to Patrick Mahomes getting hurt. We have to start there, I feel like.
Yeah, and listen, one thing, I don't want this to overshadow the injury update, but Patrick Mahomes didn't play well yesterday. You saw him completely miss Travis Kelce. You saw it with Justin Watson. Those deep balls down the field, they were not converting. They haven't converted all year, but they were not working yesterday, and they kept trying. But the thing that I'm sure that you're talking about is when they dropped back 8 consecutive times, didn't complete a single pass. That's the kind of stuff that I just don't understand. When you're winning a game by so much, when your defense and special teams get 6 takeaways, and you only won this game by 2 touchdowns, and your starting quarterback, the best player on the planet, left this game with an injury because of your play calling, that's a tough one to stomach.
And I think the worst thing about this is, Michael, the injuries just keep piling up for the Kansas City Chiefs. And we've been talking about over the last several weeks, DJ Humphries this, Hollywood Brown that, hoping we get them all back at some point so we can finally see this offense and what it looks like. Now, if DJ Humphries comes back next week, Mahomes isn't even going to be back there. If Hollywood Brown comes back on Christmas, Mahomes still might not be back there. So when do we get that opportunity to see all these guys play together before the postseason? Like that's the most frustrating part about this to me, is that we were hoping to get everyone healthy and out there at some point in a regular season game so that they could find the rhythm heading into the postseason, instead of here we are postseason week 1 and none of these guys have even played with each other before.
Yeah, and I didn't have a chance to talk about this game post-game yesterday, but to give my short little analysis, the Browns beat themselves and the Chiefs just didn't get in their way. Jameis Winston throwing 3 picks, getting benched later on in this game, it was ugly. And so the Chiefs were able to capitalize on those turnovers, and you have to give them credit for that. But it was mainly the Browns just choking. And I feel like for Patrick Mahomes to get injured in this game was just kind of a microcosm of this season. So many players have gotten hurt seemingly on a weekly basis. And to answer the question, when are we going to see all these guys take the field at the same time? Because is it going to be the divisional round of the playoffs? Do you want to see them go out there and they still don't look in sync offensively? And how are they going to get in sync offensively if Patrick Mahomes doesn't play? Because he has that high ankle sprain. And listen, we're probably going to talk about it in this video. You can't bring him back. You cannot rush him back and just kiss this season goodbye. At this point, his health for the playoffs is more important than the number 1 seed.
Well, yeah, so let's talk about that. Let's get into it. So you look at the next 2 games, Houston Texans, Pittsburgh Steelers, also happening in less than 10 days, Michael. Both of
3 games in 10 days. The NFL just
And Mahomes talked about this too. He talked about this and he called out the NFL and he said this isn't safe. And then, of course, you have him getting hurt. If that doesn't send a message to the NFL, I don't know what does. But regardless, you have those 2 games coming up and you're going to be facing pass rushers, TJ Watt, Will Anderson, Daniil Hunter. Unless Mahomes has his left tackle, which I don't even know if he's going to have his left tackle. And I'm not sure the Chiefs even know who their left tackle is. You certainly can't bring him back and risk him getting hurt. And we kind of talked about this off air, but you signed Carson Wentz for a reason. He's one of the more high-profile players that the Chiefs have brought in at backup quarterback over the last several years. Mahomes, you don't really want to mess around with that high ankle sprain. We've seen him labor through those, in years past. We were hoping to avoid it this year, but it seems to be becoming a signature at this point, is a high ankle sprain at the end of the season. But I just think there's way too much risk involved in rushing him back out there. I do think you can expect him to miss some time, which sucks. But man, this Chiefs team needs to find some other ways to win outside of Patrick Mahomes' hero ball. And this is an opportunity to figure out what they have beyond that and try to find some sort of identity, find a rhythm with the other guys out there. Maybe they find that with Carson Wentz. I will say this, and of course I love Patrick Mahomes and I want him out there over Carson Wentz. I'm not making an argument against that, but we saw Carson Wentz go out there on that final drive, and I saw him hit Xavier Worthy wide open. I don't know if I've seen Mahomes hit Xavier Worthy wide open all year. So maybe some of those guys can get the experience they need while Carson Wentz is in there and Patrick Mahomes is getting healed up and also resting so that by the time he comes back, he'll be a little bit more locked in, because we just haven't seen him locked in over recent weeks, Michael. And that's just the objective truth.
And here's the thing. The way that I'm viewing this injury, win 2 of your next 3 games. If you can win 2 of your next 3 games, you will get the number 1 seed, and that's assuming that Buffalo wins out. The Chiefs did get very fortunate that the Steelers lost to the Eagles yesterday, and so they have that cushion on them. So you could rest Mahomes against the Steelers on Christmas, and that way, you could win or lose that game, but you're not going to have to say, Mahomes, we need you to go out there because we're going to lose the 1 seed if you do not play. At this point, Josh, I do not think he should even consider playing until that game in Week 18 against the Broncos. That should be the only time that he considers it. And if you lose against Houston and you lose against Pittsburgh, just rest him. Just rest him, because then you're going to have to play on Wild Card Weekend, and there's no point in making him play in that game.
Yeah, this is going to be tough for the team to navigate, because my personal preference is for this team to do whatever it takes to lock up the 1 seed, but I don't know if you can do that without Patrick Mahomes. We're going to see. We'll find out in the Houston Texans game what they can do with Carson Wentz, but I don't know, man, because they need that bye week. They need it. The whole team needs it. Not just Mahomes needs it for his ankle now. The whole team needs that bye week that comes with getting the 1 seed.
Yeah, and listen, for this team to be 13-1 with all the injuries that they've sustained and Mahomes now going out, they're really fortunate. I mean, they're incredibly fortunate that they've at least had a little bit of spacing with these injuries. They haven't all happened at once.
Yeah.
But listen, again, 2 out of 3. Can you win 2 out of 3? And Carson Wentz can beat a Houston Texans team that has steadily gotten worse.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think that you could certainly beat them with Carson Wentz back there at quarterback. I want to see what he can do. Personally, I'm excited to see him. They signed him for a reason. I think he's one of the better backups that you could have. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can actually do, and then just get Mahomes healthy. That's the most important thing, because without Mahomes, you don't have a chance in the playoffs.
Well, and that's what I was thinking about, because, listen, I've seen the tweets saying that Carson Wentz is going to pull a Nick Foles and it's just going to rewrite history and he's going to get his Super Bowl ring. Guys, that's not happening. Buffalo is way better than us. I mean, the Lions, even with all their injuries, they would be better than us if they had Carson Wentz at quarterback. And that's not saying that if, Patrick Mahomes plays, they can't go beat Buffalo and Detroit, but you need 15. 15 is the equalizer. You cannot make a deep playoff run with Carson Wentz. I still think you could win a playoff game, but it'd be tough. It'd be very tough. And you wouldn't have that confidence. So, yes, the 1 seed is important, but I think Andy Reid is one of those guys that has confidence in all of his players. And if you give him up until Saturday to game plan with Carson Wentz, run the freaking ball after we learned yesterday, they're going to have a chance to win.
Yeah, I'm with you there. So they need to run the ball so they can also keep Wentz healthy as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want him taking a beating either. I mean, we're doing this because we don't want Mahomes getting injured again, but that doesn't mean we want Carson Wentz just, we're
Who
saying,
is
hey,
the
we're okay
third
with you
string?
getting hurt. The third string? I don't know. I think,
Is it
they
Chris
have
Oladokun?
I think
even
so.
know.
Or I don't remember if Bailey Zappi returned to the practice squad. I'm not sure. Hopefully we don't have to find out. But I think that pretty much wraps it up as far as the injury update on Patrick Mahomes. He's week to week with a high ankle sprain. I was kind of hoping it wasn't a high ankle sprain. That's a little bit worse than a typical ankle sprain, but that's what it is. And luckily it didn't happen right before the playoffs, and he will have about a 3 to 4 week window to get healthy. And hopefully, Michael, the Kansas City Chiefs can hang on to that 1 seed in the meantime. Otherwise, Chiefs Kingdom is not going to be happy with Andy Reid. So, and I'm sure they already aren't, but do you have any closing thoughts?
Listen, I think that as unfortunate as this injury is, it did happen at the right time. If this happens on Christmas against the Steelers or in week 18, there's legitimate doubt on if he could come back in time for the playoffs. And then it gets into the whole conversation of, is a bad Patrick Mahomes who's hurt out there worth it, or is it Carson Wentz's time? So the fact that it did happen with so much time left in the season, I think that is a good thing. Listen, he's going to attack rehab, and he could have came back to play yesterday, but that's all the adrenaline. That's just who Patrick Mahomes is as a competitor. It was very smart to not put him back in the game.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. That is the one smart decision that Andy Reid did make yesterday, but I'm sure you guys will have plenty to say about that in the comments down below. So with all that being said, make sure you like, share, and subscribe so more Chiefs fans can find this. You can check out my work on showmefootball.com, arrowheadaddict.com. And then, Michael, before we go, where can the people find you?
You guys can find me on YouTube. That's kind of the one-stop shop for everything Chiefs. Josh and I have been cranking out content each and every single week. So if you want to hit the like button on this video and subscribe to both of our channels, we'd both appreciate that.
And there you have it. That'll be in the description as always. So, guys, we are signing off. But as always, go Chiefs.